Hi everybody, welcome to session 2. You're going to notice in section 2 that I use what is called the 5E lesson design. This came from what we call the Hyperdot girls. And as you can see, the first part, the first E is engage. For this session, you're just going to be, usually this is where you'll find this video, the Start Here video that kind of explains what the rest of the lesson is going to be like. It might also include other videos or other pieces of materials that might be valuable for this session. In the Explore section, you're going to be taking a look at Twitter, and if you haven't done so already, you're going to be asked to follow the authors of our book on Twitter. Now, even if you're not comfortable using Twitter, this is a great resource. When you follow them, they oftentimes bring out other things from their book, or they actually link to other professionals in the field. So that's going to be part of your Explore. It's just, you're going to be kind of using, if you haven't already, using Twitter to kind of just see what it's like and look for resources. In the Explain portion of our lesson today, you're going to be looking at that portion of our book that was called Ideas to Try in the Classroom. And I want you to find 3 ideas to explore a little further, to look into, to play with, if you will. And once you've found those 3, you're going to use the link that's provided here for Flipgrid. And you're going to go out on Flipgrid and you're going to share what 3 ideas that you looked at a little bit further, why you chose them, and how you'd like to use them in your classroom. If you don't know how to use Flipgrid, go ahead and watch this video first. It gives you a little video explanation of how to use Flipgrid before you get out there. And then for this, since it's actually what they call an assignment, but you won't be turning in anything, when you're done with your Flipgrid video, just go ahead and say, come back in here and say mark as done. For the elaborate part of this session, it means that you're going to be practicing something a little bit more. So what I want you to think of doing is, from those 3 that you selected in the Explain portion of the session, pick one. And then also think of a lesson. And maybe you have to do that first. Maybe you have to think of a lesson first. And then pick one of those ideas and actually kind of go a little bit further. Explain how would you really use that in your classroom, and not just explain, but show us an example. How would you set up that part? How would you use that new knowledge in one of your lessons? How would you use that to teach something to your students? So as you can see here, it just gives you directions about how to do that. And then we're also going to post that explanation or that example that you're creating on what we call our Padlet wall. And right there, when you open up Padlet, it'll open up like this. Right down here is directions on how to actually use Padlet. And your examples will show up on this corkboard as well, and you can go ahead and add comments onto other people's. You can like other people's ideas, but part of our Google Infused classroom said that we want to make thinking visible. We want to give students choice, and we want them to be able to share their work. And so this is a great way just an example, just like we did with Flipgrid. It's another example of how we can make your thinking visible, how we can share your work, and how we can hear your voice in the classroom. So for the last part of our session 5, we have evaluate and reflect. And it's oftentimes a piece of lesson design that we tend to forget about, but it's an important piece because it makes your learners think about their learning. What did they learn? And so for this session's evaluate and reflect, you're actually going to use a discussion piece right here in Google Classroom, and you're just going to talk about, what did you find to be the most interesting or important part of session 2? And how are you going to carry that forward and use that with your students as you move forward? Or what do you look forward to? Or how do you look forward to using it? So you could go ahead and just type up your thoughts and feelings on that. And then It's not required, but you are certainly welcome, and I encourage you to, respond to some of the other learners and teachers in our classroom. So I hope you have a good understanding of what we're going to be covering in session 2, and I look forward to hearing your ideas and how you want to implement them in your classroom.